So I'm finally getting around to making another video, this time a more detailed description of when I bought the SC and how it came to be basically what it is now. So when I bought the car, it wasn't something posted for sale online. Basically a situation where just walking down the street and inquired about the car to the guy that lived in the house that the car was parked outside of, and he just so happened to be interested in selling the car. So when I got the car home, it sat for quite a while. I'm gonna say maybe about a year. And in that year, I probably didn't have much else to do with the car other than try to clean it up because it was in such a dirty, it was so dirty when I got it. So once I, got it kind of cleaned up and stuff like that, and I was able to buy my engine, the engine came in, and I never planned to just throw it right in the car. My plan was to put the engine on a stand and basically reseal everything and make sure everything was tip top before it went into the car, so I didn't have to worry about, small issues down the road having to do with anything like that. Once I got the engine, I was able to start breaking things down, and as I'm getting through it, I had a hold up for a couple of months because I didn't have a valve spring tool. So parts just kind of laid in like containers for a couple of months. I finally borrowed one, which I don't know why I didn't just buy one. Probably because I didn't think I'd ever use one again, so borrowing's easier. So once I was able to get my hands on the valve spring tool, then I got the head machined. I was able to finish up doing the valves and putting the rest of the gasket kit together, and slowly but surely putting the rest of the engine back together. And during the process of cleaning the engine up and resealing everything, I also bought other parts for the engine along the way. So a few of those things are, I did buy a 2JZ water pump, future fab downpipe. I did a rear sump conversion, and all these things just, took time. I also got a steel braided oil return line, which at the time when I ordered it from Drift Motion, it was a new part that was being made. So it was sent to me, and I basically was testing it to see if it was going to fit properly on the engine, and it didn't. So I had to send it back, sent another one, which luckily mocked up perfectly, the ARP head studs. I also got billet aluminum pulleys. I powder coated the valve covers illusion purple because I had this idea, this color scheme in mind at that time. So I had the valve covers painted purple. So those were just a couple of things that I got along the way. I'm being interrupted by Sir Kitty here jumping all over me. He wants to be included. His name is Orca. Okay. Ow! Right before I decided that the engine was ready to go ahead and put in the car, I probably spent a couple of days just scrubbing the engine bay out. I wanted it to be super clean and immaculate, like I had basically made the engine by this point. So scrubbed it. I even bought like a handheld steamer to help like break things down and get it super clean. And then I was thinking, well, this would be a perfect opportunity to paint the engine bay. Well, there's no engine in it. So I decided to paint the engine bay purple. And fortunately, I had a friend that had went to school for painting, and he was able to paint the engine bay for me. So that was super convenient. And then once the engine bay was painted and ready to go, then the engine finally went in. Once I got the engine in, then I started to accumulate other parts and things that I needed. So I decided to get the Mishimoto radiator. I did the full HKS exhaust, stance suspension, and I really wanted to finish everything mechanically before I started focusing on cosmetic things that the car needed, because that was a long road in itself. So once I got everything put together as far as the engine, I started to kind of get pieces at a time done on the interior, which is still a work in progress. I still have probably, I would say, about half the interior to finish. And there's also holdups with doing the interior as well, because unless you dye the carpet yourself, which is what I attempted to do, and after, I don't know, 100 bottles of dye and trash can and trying to do the whole thing myself and it coming out blue not once but twice, I decided to start looking at other possibilities of maybe getting a black carpet. So they don't sell black carpets for the SC online, so then the guy who's doing my interiors said that he could custom make my carpet. So just little things like that, with it being an older car and parts being harder to find and it doesn't come in as many options, you know, maybe as like cars now with interior colors and stuff like that. Well, the SC did come in black interior, but it's rare, and if I found a black carpet, it's going to be also 20 years old. So I did attempt to use my original carpet, which I cleaned really well, obviously, and then I was going to dye it. And after, I don't know, 200 bottles of RIT dye and 2 tries, and it kept coming out blue, which obviously I was using black RIT dye, not blue. But I decided to basically forfeit the idea of dyeing it myself. So yeah, the interior is slowly but surely coming along. So once I felt like I was at a good point where things with the engine were basically done, I just needed to do a few minor things, like, not that it's really a minor thing, I guess. It's kind of a big thing, which caused a problem for me later. But, you know, the wiring, basically not fully finishing the wiring, but getting enough of it done to where, like, I could start the engine, which there was, I can't remember what it was, but there was one wire somewhere that wasn't wired in properly, which led to weeks of not figuring out why it was starting. And during that process, I thought that the fuel pump could have had something to do with it, which luckily it was something that I needed to do anyways, but I ended up putting a new fuel pump in the car thinking that's why it wasn't starting. So put the new fuel pump in, put some clean gas in there that hadn't been in there forever and ever, and finally figured out that it was this wire, not the fuel pump, started it. It ran really great. And then I took it on its first drive. On the first startup, I drove it and realized really quickly that the synchros in the R154 that I had with the 1J were going out.
You're pushing, your wheels are doing this. So it's fine, mine does the same thing.
Very good. I see.
See how bad I screwed?
People let it on. Damn.
Oh my god.
I was going to have to do a rebuild kit for the R154. So I had planned out what the rebuild kit was going to cost, how much it was going to cost to take it to a shop and have them rebuild it for me. The shop part was really the easiest because they said they could have it done in literally just a few days. So although I had this planned out, I lost motivation and continuing with the car because where I thought I was getting so close, now I have this other giant hurdle to get over as far as my transmission needing a rebuild. And I was trying to be optimistic about it, thinking, you know, I have to do this transmission rebuild. It sucks that I'm doing it sooner than I wanted to, but in the long run, the transmission will be in much better shape. I won't have to worry about it, and it'll be able to handle more power. So I'm gonna say another 6 months to a year went by, and just out of nowhere, a CD009 6-speed had popped up online that somebody was selling, and they had I believe it's a Collins short shifter. There's some Tilton parts on it, but to use these CD009 with the 1J, you have to like cut the bell housing and do all this stuff. It was already done. The guy who had it was preparing it for his Supra, so I didn't have to do anything. It's ready to go in the car. So I went ahead and got the CD009. This was last summer, so the summer of 2019, I decided to go ahead and buy the CD009. The car has already been sitting for, I don't know, I'm gonna say 2 years, and to get motivation back, I decided to go ahead and have the car painted, which was also kind of all over the place because then I decided to do white on my cars. I needed something to go with the purple that I've already done, but something that wasn't midnight purple. So I did the white on the car, which when I took the car to get it painted, I had these polyurethane fenders, which I wasn't considering the fact that painting those was going to be a problem. So then I ended up buying the Vertex front fenders so that the body all matched. We rolled the rears and painted the car, and my goal was by the time it was coming out of paint that I was going to have everything ready to go in as far as the transmission. The last thing I need to do at this point, you are so rude. My goal was that once my car came out of paint that I was going to be ready to do this this training swap. So I went and picked up the CD009 while it was still at the paint shop. It came home, I bought the Collins twin disc clutch, and I'm trying to think. The last but not least part that I needed is two $300 spacer, and then basically, you know, get the R154 out, put the CD009 in, and I need to get my drive shaft redone because I had a drive shaft custom made for the R154. So that is actually about to happen very, very soon. I'm gonna say within my next couple of videos, the video is gonna be on the tranny swap for the CD009. So last summer, I got over quite a few milestones, basically got everything back in gear as far as like building on the car again, got remotivated to finish it, and that's where she's basically at now. So a complete and total transformation, but you know, there's a few things that need to be buttoned up on and finished, but for the most part, I feel really good about where the car is now, because the things that need to be finished are very close to being done and not anything super complicated. Oh, and also I forgot to mention that last summer when I bought the CD009 and the Collins twin desk and got the car painted, I had also bought Fig's arms for the rear. But I still need to get the Fig's arms for the front, which are probably the most important arms that I need. I'm also going to be purchasing soon the polyurethane bushings, so that I can get rid of all my old shitty bushings and put some bushings on there that actually aren't corroding and disgusting. So I feel like that's pretty much it as far as where the car's at now. There's definitely a few things left to be done. I want to do a walkthrough of the car when we have a nice day. We've been getting a lot of snow, so taking the car out and doing a video, starting it up and having it running and kind of showing the rest of the things that need to be finished up on the car will hopefully be the next video, because I would really like to do that one. So luckily I just have a lot of pictures of the process from you know, when I first got the car to now, and everything that's basically happened with it. So yeah. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.